That report was filed about an hour ago, so of course there's about an hour to go because it's almost 4 o'clock. Joy Brenda Mdivo, advocate, joins me now to talk about this. It's a mad rush, isn't it?
It is. It is.
Okay, so let's talk about these independent candidates. Many of them finding this a bit of a tall order. Find your own symbol, make sure it doesn't look like anybody else's, make sure it doesn't look like any other political party as well, and the deadline being today. Your thoughts on that process and whether people are saying the independent could be the game changer in the 12th Parliament?
Let's start with the deadlines that they're looking at. Today being the final day, everybody is in a scramble to get this thing done.
Yeah.
There's one thing that I don't understand, though, is why they decided each independent candidate needs to have a symbol.
Yeah.
Because, quite frankly, the symbol was to differentiate between political parties. In my opinion, the independent candidates should have either no symbol next to their names, or the IBC should have a universal symbol for all independent candidates. So if you see a mobile phone, you know that means that candidate is independent. Because if you look at the numbers that we have now, everybody coming up with a symbol. I mean, have you seen some of the symbols?
4,000 candidates.
I mean, you've got toothpicks and staplers and spades and needles and thread. It's ridiculous what people have to come up with. And even then, you have no guarantee that your symbol will be cleared in time.
Right.
That is one. But looking at the numbers as well, like you said, it is true. This is going to be a game changer. You're going to have this constituency that's not affiliated to either party that will be in Parliament. So when bills come to the floor of the House, it will be interesting to see the horse trading and the trying to woo people into
but some
one
say
side or another.
That would be so if these independent candidates were truly independent. But then again, I'm independent, but I support Raila Odinga. I'm independent, but I support the re-election of President Uhuru Kenyatta.
That is for the election. Once you get into the House...
I mean, do we have truly independent candidates other than people like Gatobu Kinoti, who has remained independent and not swayed by any political party waves in the country? Do we have truly independent candidates in the sense of the word?
Right now, if you look at independent candidates, even though there are some who were independent from the beginning, most of the ones we have there now are actually nomination losers. And so in that sense, they're not truly independent because they're going independent just as a means of accessing the ballot paper. So if they were left with their own devices, they had a party of choice. So you cannot say that they're truly independent.
But they will wield some power in the House.
They will. And secondly, for most of us, you belong somewhere where there is a strong man who's favored by the area. So if you really want to be elected, you must realistically indicate that you support the popular candidate. Otherwise, nobody is going to vote for you. That is unfortunately the reality. However, once you're in power and you've taken oath and you're fully a member of Parliament, then the story is different. Because if there's a chief whip and he's whipping the government side, for example, or the minority side, he has no sway over you. You are literally a free agent. And at that point, they'll be happy to throw their weight around, I'm sure. Unless if they have been given maybe some position here or there, they're chairman of some committee or other, many of them will actually remain a loose cannon.
Let's talk about the independent presidential candidates. Our reporter Raquel Mwigai was there, and she's reporting 9 independent presidential candidates apparently have been cleared. We know some of them. We heard some of them launching their presidential bids last weekend, the weekend before that. And then there's the argument that, okay, so why are you really doing this? Is it a protest vote? Is it a statement? But then again, it's also their right to run. Do you think they will be able to, dig in or maybe change our narrative, our political narrative, our elections this time around?
You know, they keep saying that bad things happen when good men do nothing. And sometimes I must laud the lesser known candidates who have got less chance of success because you run on principle. And when you run on principle, you're standing on what you believe is the correct position, what you believe is the truth. Now, the difference between that candidate and a popular candidate is because they're beholden to their views and they're beholden to their beliefs. And even if you come back after 10 years and ask them, they'll still remain the same. An example is Professor Wangari Maathai. She ran on a ticket for the Greens. That time, what was it called?
Greenbelt, yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And when she ran, she was running on the principle of we must protect the environment. It was a little known party. She did not get 2,000 votes. But at the end of the day, she was so steadfast that she actually won the Nobel Prize. And so when you look at such candidates, they offer a fresh view. And there are those who are idealistic and would rather put their vote to such a person, because you don't have to vote for a person simply because they're going to win. I could decide to put my vote to such a candidate to tell them, look, yes, those of us out here who get
Who
it.
believe in you.
And so just support them for give people choice.
Okay.
Others, it would be run off now.
Possibly. Okay, all right. Joy Brenda Mdiva, an advocate of the High Court, thanks very much for your views. I want to take our Twitter poll question results. We'd asked you whether the IEBC should extend the deadlines for independent candidates to comply with the regulations. I believe we'll be showing you the results of that poll in just a few short moments. 39% of you say yes. 61% say no. Kenny Maestro says no. IBC should not